Hey everybody, Mr. Bress here. I just wanted to record a quick video where I'm going to go over one example of the Punnett squares, the monohybrid crosses. I think people in class were really understanding what's happening. I just wanted to show you one example from the homework. I also recognize that some of the homework problems are pretty challenging, and those problems are a lot more challenging than the ones that I'm going to be asking you to answer on the test. And I would suggest that you all take a look at the practice quiz that's available, and you can see the types of questions then that I'll be asking, right? Because I'm going to draw directly from that pool. So let's go over to, I'm gonna share my iPad here, and I can show you both things that I'm talking about with as far as the test and the homework. So here we are. Let's start over in Canvas, and let's go to our Brus Biology Semester 2 class. I got a lot of versions of that open, and then let's click over in modules. And the first thing that I was mentioning is here is this at the bottom, this overall genetics practice test. Now you can take this as many times as you want and see how you're doing. And you don't have to finish it. And so far we've done the first 2 sections or so. So you can kind of just get a sense of what you know so far. And if you continue to take the test, you can see what lies ahead. So I'm going to start here by going to today, Wednesday, February 3rd, and going to some more practice. And in retrospect, I don't love all of these practices here. It's kind of a holdover of what we've been doing for a few years. But I think you all have the skills to be able to solve many of these. I'm going to try monohybrid practice problems number 2 here. So I'm going to click on that and make sure that's the one that I was looking for. Oh yeah, I think we started doing a little bit of this in class and then continued it on into the discussion section afterwards. So I'm going to send this over to Notability, and I'm going to create a new note there, and I'm just going to import that into Notability and head on over there. All right, so let's head over to Notability. Let's click on monohybrid practice problems number 2, and we'll start here. Okay, so some of this we've already done in class, but I'll just review it here. So it says, in humans, brown eyes are dominant over blue eyes. Brown eyes are dominant over blue eyes. So I know that my capital letter is the dominant letter. That's going to be brown. And my lowercase letter is going to be blue. Okay. So what type of offspring would you expect if you crossed a heterozygous brown-eyed person, crossed with another heterozygous brown-eyed person? Pretty classic heterozygous cross. So the first thing I do then is I make my square here. We're getting pretty used to that. Break it into 4 parts. I always like this first one, put it here, and I split the 2 possible versions of the gene that this parent could contribute is either big B or little b. And remember, the offspring that are produced are going to get 1 version from mom and 1 version from dad. And so dad could potentially provide either the brown-eyed version or the blue-eyed version. And then what we do is we just match these up into each one of these cells here, in here, and here. Remember, you could write little b, big B, but that is not how we like to do it in class, and that's not how scientists do it. So let's write big B, little b first. The same goes here. And then finally, we get this unique combination here of little b, little b. what type of offspring would you expect? This is kind of a weird question. Well, if we gave our possible genotypes, we would see this one would be brown-eyed, homozygous dominant. Heterozygous would be brown eyes. This heterozygous would be brown eyes. And just remember, both of the parents would have had brown eyes. And the one offspring here in this corner could potentially have blue eyes. And I say potentially because what we see is that 3 out of 4, so there's BB is 1 out of 4. That equals 25%. Heterozygous, B little b, was 2 out of 4, equals 50%. And then little b was 1 out of 4, equals 25%. So there is if we add these up here, there is a 75% chance that these parents would produce a child with brown eyes. There's a 75% chance of that. And that's adding up the 25 and the 50%. And there is a 25% chance that these parents would produce a child with blue eyes. And again, that's just a chance. It's just a prediction. It's just a probability. It's possible that these parents could have 10 kids, all blue eyes. It's super unlikely. And actually, you could do the calculation. Statistically, you could do the calculation, but it's possible. The one other thing I want to just mention that we're here is these letter combinations here. These, I'm going to write up here. Oh, I could have pointed a line. These are known as the genotype, gene for the genetics. And these colors here, well, actually, I should put these here, brown and blue. Brown and blue are known as the phenotypes for the physical characteristics, right? They are the physical characteristics. Brown and blue is the phenotype. Okay, so here's one that we did in what do we call that? The discussion, the office hours afterwards. And a widow's peak hairline is dominant to straight hair. So a widow's peak, I'll just draw it up here really quick, is if here's my person here. Oh yeah, that's a great looking person. The widow's peak is the hairline kind of comes down in a point there. That is widow's peak. And the other possibility that they're saying that exists here is a straight line here. We're calling that straight. Okay. So anyways, the widow's peak is dominant. So I don't want to use W. So I'm going to just pick the H for hairline. So capital H equals widows. I'm just abbreviating for widow's peak, because that's dominant, and it's dominant to the straight line. Those are the only two possibilities, is widow's peak or straight hairline. So the recessive version of gene is the straight hair. Okay. And it says we're going to cross a heterozygous widow's peak hairline. So that is, we're crossing H gets crossed to a person with a straight hairline. So the only way you can get a straight hairline is homozygous recessive, because we know that capital H, homozygous dominant, that would be widows. We know that it only takes one copy, so the heterozygous would be widows as well. And the homozygous recessive is the only one that would be straight. And this is because in heterozygous, it only takes one copy of the dominant gene to confer, to give that trait. Okay, so here's our setup here. A heterozygous widow's peak to a straight line, a hairline person here. And we just want to see what would the possible offspring be? What are the possibilities? So again, these genotypes can go here, capital H or lower h, and this individual could only provide little h. So we get this combination here. So what I see is up top here that 2 out of 4, 50% would have the widow's peak. They're heterozygous. In the other 2 out of 4, the other 50% would have straight hair. Okay. Yes. So you could have, the question might ask, what's the likelihood that one of the offspring would have straight hair? And that likelihood is 2 out of 4 or 50%. Okay. Let's jump ahead. Well, let's try this one here. Okay. In humans, premature gray hair is dominant over normal hair. So the dominant big G is gray and little g is normal. And I'm not saying it's not normal to have gray hair. I got some gray hair and I certainly have a lot of gray hair right here. So I guess I'm not normal in this case here. So we cross a homozygous premature gray-haired person. So that's homozygous dominant, big G, to a homozygous normal-haired person, little g. And you probably can see where this one is going. Make our Punnett square here. These go here. These ones go here. So big G, little g. And you might be able to predict that all of these are going to be heterozygous. So 4 out of 4, 100% are heterozygous. And in this case, heterozygous, so big G, little g, one copy of the dominant gene, we know this would be gray or premature gray. Okay? Let's try another one here. We got a few more in here. Wow, there's a bunch of them here. So let's try tongue rolling. So that's where you can make your tongue fold in half. So tongue rolling is dominant. So I'm going to call this big T equals rolling. And non-tongue rolling is the other version of the gene here. Little t is non-rolling. What would be the expected type of offspring if a homozygous tongue roller, so that means this is rolling here, so a homozygous dominant tongue roller was crossed with a heterozygous, hetero is the two different tongue roller, what would this combination be? So I'm going to make the box a little smaller here. And again, these ones go here, These go down here, big T, big T, big T, little t. And then we match them in, big T, big T, big T, big T. This one here, that goes there, big T, little t, big T, little t. So of the possible genotypes, we have 0%. That is 0 out of 4 are non-tongue rollers. In this case, they only can produce tongue rollers. And we see 50% of the offspring, 50%, 2 out of 4 are going to be homozygous dominant, and 2 out of 4 are going to be heterozygous. But remember, both of these here will be tongue rollers. All right. Oh, and here's a one they snuck in here. So brown hair is dominant over light hair. So I'm going to put big H is brown, little h is light, and we're going to cross 2 light-haired people. So the only way you can get light hair is to be homozygous recessive. And you might see where this one is going here. This goes here, little h, little h, little h, little h. All of these offspring, 4 out of 4, 100% are going to be light-haired. It's the only possibility that it could be. Okay. How much more do we? What's a good one here? Wow, there's a lot of wow. This is actually a good worksheet right here. So you should practice on this one. So in a certain plant, yellow fruit is dominant to white fruit. So I'm going to put F is yellow because that's the dominant, and white fruit is the recessive trait, white. A heterozygous plant with yellow fruit. So a heterozygous plant with yellow fruit is crossed with a plant with white fruit. So the only way we can get white fruit is homozygous recessive. So I'll just put 2 in there. Again, we'll make our square. These go here. I'm going to try to make this that capital F, lowercase, 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 because those came from there. So from here, we're going to get half of our offspring are going to be heterozygous. Oops, I should make those more the same size. And half are going to be homozygous recessive. So 2 out of 4, 50% are going to have yellow fruit because they are heterozygous. And 2 out of 4, 50% will have white fruit. All right. So I'm going to, I don't know, maybe I should keep going on, huh? Let's look at, let's go down, we'll drop down to 10 here. Tall plants are dominant to short plants. So we know that capital T is tall and lowercase t is short. Cross a heterozygous tall plant to a heterozygous tall plant. So we have done heterozygous tall plant. We have done this version before. And when you cross 2 heterozygotes, you will always get the same distribution that we always see. So this one is here. You'll get one homozygous dominant. You'll get one homozygous recessive, and you will get two heterozygotes. So you can see here that 3 out of 4 will be tall, and 1 out of 4 here will be short. All right, well, I'm just gonna stop this video here before it gets too long, but if you have any questions or you want me to look over some of the work that you've done, just send me an email. We can schedule a time. You can send me screenshots. I can see how you're doing. Any other specific questions, let me know. And I hope this video was helpful for you. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.